how can we take these children, the parents of these children make $100 a month. How can we help them make $500 a month, which is not a big number? I personally feel that anything we know before 2023 is already obsolete. 4 billion people have smartphones, so we really need to be able to take advantage of the AI to educate our children. Pakistan's education space, with 3 million kids in Pakistan don't go to school. I have this concept called the Wala concept, and apparently Tara, your grandfather's name also had a Wala in it. I did not know that. Did he already knew about the Wala concept? So our school has 3 video studios, 1 music studio, 1 maker space, 1 startup space. We have Alexas in all the classes now. We have a touch screen, Google Assistant on every class, and this is in a slum. And everybody has a smartphone, a laptop. We've given them from our foundation, so that they can actually start using. I come from a country which for majority of the Europeans is like a black hole. Most people don't really know anything about it, even though it's the 5th largest country on the planet. It's called Pakistan.
Thank you.
So since you set the pattern, I'll also set. Thank you for and welcome to the lightning talks. I put some lightning here so that it goes along. I come from a country which for majority of the Europeans is like a black hole. Most people don't really know anything about it, even though it's the 5th largest country on the planet. It's called Pakistan. And the moment I meet my friends from Europe or the US, majority of them associated with Iraq or Afghanistan or something different. It's totally a different country. It's like a mini India. If there's anything you want to resemble it to, we and Pakistan and India divorced each other 75 years ago, and then we made another baby called Bangladesh. Now it's the 3rd one. So we divorced each other. So there are 3 countries which were used to be India, and now combining these 3 countries, you are talking about 1.7 billion people of the planet. That's almost a quarter of the planet just within these 3 countries. If you look at the data, 60% of the people of these countries cannot read or write their name in any language. Now that sounds profound, that sounds insane, but that's the data I got from the internet. And that's not from ChatGPT. It is from the internet in general. So that's kind of a very, very large amount of data. So around 13 years ago, when I decided to full-time go into impact and teaching what I know, I went and started doing some data research, and we went into entrepreneurship. We were teaching people how to start a business with just $100 and make $300 a month. I have a PhD in failing. I never got my certificate. I have done over 150 businesses in my life. Some of them succeeded, but majority of them fail, like the 90% startups that fail. So when my children were growing up, I have 6 children. When my children were growing up, I wanted to have a school where I can send them to, which will really teach them to impact. There's a book called Lynchpin, if you read about it. So after that book, I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just took out my children from school, and 3 of my sons don't have any degree of any sort. I mean, matriculation or O levels or high. They didn't even graduate high school. However, they traveled extensively with me. Instead of going to School of Hard Knocks after 40, they went to School of Hard Knocks at a very young age. So I wanted to create a school for them which would teach the values which my family gave to me. I come from a business family. I started going to internship when I was 5, 7, 8. At 8, I was selling candies at my school. At 13, I started my first business already for 4 hours a day. And somebody was talking about at the Impact Day, about boredom. I literally started everything because I was bored. There was no television, there was no internet. I just did not know what to do. So I started doing business. So if we look at the mass education system, how many of you enjoyed your school? 2, 3, 4 people. Okay, that's great. You're probably not from Pakistan. So So now I was doing some research, and it turned out that in 1973, King Frederick II actually started the first mass education in Prussia. He's also known as the Potato King. How many of you know that? Do you know about the potato story? So, the King of Prussia introduced. There was a famine apparently in around his reign, which is 1700s. There was a famine in Prussia, and he introduced a new vegetable which everybody refused to eat. They said that even the dogs don't eat it. It doesn't smell. Do you know what that vegetable was? The potato, right? So he just constantly talked about it, but nobody was willing to eat it. It's like impact investing, and nobody's want to go over there. So he took a small piece of farm, put 100 or 200 guards around it, and then it was a special plantation of potatoes just for him. And that created a whole iPhone kind of mindset that, oh, this is a special vegetable for the king. And the king told the guard that, let them steal if they want to, because they were not listening. They were just not willing to hold the ear like this. They just want to go around. So he did this ideology, and then people actually started to eat potatoes. And now every child just wants to eat potato. The second mass education started, according to the U.S., was a law was passed in 1852. Um, Scotland was at the time of Martin Luther, the king. Martin Luther was like something he did where the act for setting of school, which mandated school in every parish, and this was back in 1559. From what when I was growing up, I was told that if you read Ken Robinson and the history of education, he's saying that all this education which we are going through is designed for the industrial age. And now the industrial age is totally uh, um, transformed. It has moved to majority to Asia, but now there is a thing called AI. I personally feel that anything we know before 2023 is already obsolete. We need to reinvent almost everything, because now almost 4 billion people have smartphones. So we really need to be able to take advantage of the AI to educate our children. So yesterday I asked this question on the AI panel: what should we do to leapfrog the underdeveloped countries of like African countries and South American countries and countries like Pakistan to use AI? And they said AI first. So I renamed my slide to to the AI ground up, because that's what we're doing. We're basically saying everything you can do with AI, you should do. And this is before I knew that I was going to present over here. So we made a documentary in our school, which Bertola shared, and we have Alexas in all the classes now. We have a touchscreen Google Assistant on every class, and this is in a slum. And everybody has a smartphone, a laptop. We've given them from our foundation so that they can actually start using. Pakistan's education space. 50 million kids in Pakistan don't go to school. They have no access to school, apparently. And there are around 100,000 private schools, around 120,000 private schools. And the average fees of that school is only $4. The teacher gets $20 a month. Now, how good of a quality of a teacher can you get for $20 a month? So the cars are the same cost, everything else costs the same. Electricity is more expensive than here. How would you get good quality human beings if the teachers are not of good quality? So I ended up with a school around 2 years ago, because I wanted to create the school, but finally I was able to acquire a renting school in the slum area, where around 2 years ago there was no electricity. I got solar in, I got Wi-Fi in, I got the whole basics infrastructure. It took me a year and a half. I was wondering, why is it taking so long? And it turned out that my principal told me I was backstabbing you. I was cutting everything which you were doing, because I did not want the children to use smartphone. I did not want the children to use a computer, because again, this is a slum area. He thought Facebook and the internet is the ultimate evil. So we were having a lot of problems in getting it started. But I, being an entrepreneur and failing and having a PhD and failing, I thought, how can we take these children The parents of these children make $100 a month. How can we help them make $500 a month, which is not a big number? And then we charge $100 a month from the children for studying. So that means that if we have only 100 students, we end up having a lot of money, around $250,000 a year, just to run a school, which means that now it becomes very profitable to run a school. And then the capital markets kick in and a lot of people start making good quality of school, good teachers, good everything. So we went and we started this school. We're working right now with 45 students. We have 170 students. And right now, so this is 12 years ago, and I started a school on a cell phone. It was school in a box for $10. You have preloaded content, which you can use to just educate anyone, basic English and other stuff. So there are like 3,000 languages in the world. How do you teach a child? So I thought Mr. Bean is the ultimate answer. Mr. Bean's language is understood by everyone. So I went to Rowan Atkins 2 times. I was rejected. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just do it myself. See how we can do that. It is embarrassing no matter what can get. It is really embarrassing to see it every time. Can we go back to slides? Thank you for playing that. I am truly embarrassed now. So one of the biggest challenges which we face, I think, is leadership. We really don't find good leaders. So when I wanted to make schools back in the day, I have this concept called the Wala concept. And apparently, Taral, your grandfather's name also had a Wala in it. I did not know that. Did he already knew about the Wala concept? So Wala is like a smith or like a goldsmith or, belonging to some business. So you have bakers and you have, the smiths, which are basically ironsmiths, and then you have goldsmith, the gold makers. But so we created a Wala concept. And then what we do is, this is very interesting, where when a child comes in, we talked with them and then we give them an SDG goal. So you now for the next 4 years, we take them at the 7th grade till 10th. So every child is given a problem to solve for the next 4 years. Say, so for example, you want to solve the water problem. And you're just a child, you're like 12 years old. How are you going to solve the water problem? How would you get educated in the water problem? So what we do is we show them one TED Talk every single day on water. And then we ask them to make that same TED Talk again, explain what you understood in English and our local language, and then post those videos back on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then tag the original speaker so that the original speaker says, who's this kid who watched my TED Talk? And he's actually replicating it. How many people have seen that? Nobody does that. So we just tag them, and then the kid, once he get acquainted, we request the speaker to give them an interview. So our school has 3 video studios, 1 music studio, 1 maker space, 1 startup space. How much time do I have? 1 second left. So
I'm just going to sit next to you to indicate.
Okay, cool. Get my mind. So yeah, so now the biggest problem one of the biggest problem I've had is, and I feel every Norwegian and Swedish people has, it can't talk. It seems you guys have this anxiety in speaking, and I have the same exact problem when I was growing up. So every single child has to interview 1 human being every single day while they're there at school. That is around 300 interviews a year, which makes them an amazing listener because they can only talk 3%. So coming back to the TED Talks, once they actually explain the TED Talk, they have to reach out to the person and ask them for an interview. Imagine in 4 years, they reach out, they watch 1,000 TED Talks on water, and they connect with them on LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, they don't have to come to Katapult. It's a long flight. It's expensive. Nobody gets visa. I got 27 rejections to get visas. So, like, now these kids are phenomenal. They have this amazing network in different spaces. They have the solar network, they have the water network, you name it. They will have this phenomenal network of human beings connected to them. And they have the money inside the network, they have the problem inside the network, and they have the solution inside the network. So they become the Greta Thunberg, they become the Malala of that problem. They become the lighthouse effect, we call it. And the slides are gone. And everybody reach out to them. If anybody in this network, which we are in right now, has a problem, they go to Taral. Taral, what could I do? I need the money, or I want to give the money, I want to do this. You become what is called the lighthouse effect, and then you just connect the dots together. They're like Bertola does, and that's how we think that it can solve problems. It's all open source. Once we are able to get these kids at $500 a month, we hope that we will become a model for others to copy. We don't know what we will call it, something like Montessori or IB or whatever it's going to be called, but I have literally thrown away all the sciences and physics and whatever you want to call. There's no more schooling of that anymore. The reason being, my country is going through a huge economic crisis. People are earning $800 a year as a family, and the first thing we want to fix is money. We can't keep on going to World Bank and IMF to take money or borrow money, and it's just not right that there is so much money like the potato. We don't have to. I go back to the potato king because the freelancing industry, the internet is there. It's like people are still not taking advantage of these potatoes. They're still believing that the world is flat and it's not round, and they will fall if they go towards the internet. That's my biggest challenge. The cultural challenge, the cultural change is not coming, and that stops the growth of our country. And I hope to this model can replicate it around the places. And the kids have forced me to make the school from till 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. So coming back to the question, did you enjoy your school? These kids have forced us to actually extend the school timing 4 more hours a day. How many kids know that? I don't know how. I mean, my kids didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that. So this is what we're doing. Come and say hi. This is a card of mine which has seeds inside. My name is Basil in Arabic. It has basil seeds. You can plant it, and you can remember me when you eat some basil chicken. Thank you so much.
Big out to Rehan. Peace.